Hi friends, welcome. Today I have some cottagecore picture books to go over with you. They're great to read to children this time of year, tail end of summer. The first book I have is called Mossy and it's by Jan Brett. This is a book that takes place in the Edwardian age, so it's a little unique in that sense. On a misty, moisty morning, a young turtle stood at the edge of Lily Pad Pond. Her name was Mossy. And what's special about this turtle, Mossy, is Mossy grows a garden on her shell. So beautiful. Mossy is then discovered by a little girl named Tori. Here's Mossy's beautiful garden shell. Mossy's aunt is named Dr. Carolina, and she is a scientist. She would like to collect Mossy as a specimen to put in her museum so all of the people in the town can learn about Mossy's special garden shell. So she builds Mossy this magnificent enclosure, and the townspeople come to see Mossy. But eventually the children and Tori feel bad for Mossy, that Mossy is kept captive. Here's Tori feeling rather sad for Mossy, expressing empathy. Dr. Carolina comes up with an idea. She says, let's paint a large portrait of Mossy and hang that inside the museum instead of keeping Mossy captive. So with that, they take Mossy back to the pond where they found her. Here's Mossy going home, and Mossy meets a fun companion. So beautiful. This book is stunning. All right, and then I actually have another book by Jan Brett, same author, Town Mouse, Country Mouse. This is a classic. Basic gist of this story is there are some mice that live in town and they wonder, what would life in the country be like? It must be better. And then on the flip side, there are some mice who live in the country and they think, oh, what would life in town be like? It must be better. And the country mice fantasize about going through the pantry, having all of the readily accessible food. Illustrations in this book also are just phenomenal. Marvelous, glorious, fantastic, wondrous. Here they are, trading places. It's raining. Such personification of the little mice. And then what they find, the country mice and the town mice, is that even though their new dwellings, town, country, have the great options that they were hoping for, there are also hazards in their new locations that they weren't exactly planning for. So at the end of the story, the town mice and the country mice, after exploring their other situation, town or country, they decide to return to their original locations. Country mice back to the country, town mice back to the town. And then they are very thankful when they return home to the settings from which they came. Just look at those illustrations. So beautiful. Yeah, Jan Brett, she's just a fantastic author. So cottagecore and whimsical. Oh, and then here's the last picture of the cat and the owl, the predators of the country and the town, having a little chat. Yeah, fantastic book by Jan Brett. Town Mouse, Country Mouse. The grass is not always greener on the other side. Great moral lesson for children as well. Heidi by Johanna Spiri. Classic. This book, this particular edition, I really like because it has just little quaint little drawings. And it's a fast read. Anyway, if you're not familiar with the story of Heidi, it's about a girl who lives in Switzerland, and she has a grandfather who lives high up in the mountains, and it's like her last living relative. The grandfather is one of her last living relatives. Her parents have departed. So she goes up to live with her grandfather, becomes attached to living there. Her grandfather's at the same time backstory, a little bit withdrawn, doesn't really go into town, but he's a loving person even though he's a bit reserved. And so then Heidi is sent off to live with a wealthy family who has a handicapped daughter named Clara. And Clara is in a wheelchair, and Clara's father thought that Heidi would be very good company for Clara. And Heidi goes to live with this family. They're very wealthy. They live in the city, but Heidi does not feel at home. She misses the country. She does become wonderful friends with Clara. Heidi does get an opportunity to move back in with her grandfather in the mountains, and they become acquainted there again, and Clara ends up visiting Heidi in the mountains, and Clara ends up regaining some of her health and mobility from spending time in Mother Nature in the mountains. And it's just a marvelous story about kind of the healing aspects of friendship and nature. So, super cottagecore story. Next book I have is Mr. Rabbit and the Lovely Present by Charlotte Zolotow. Pictures by Maurice Sendak. This is an oldie. I think this was published in 1962. This story is about a girl in beautiful cottagecore dress who is looking for a present for her mother's birthday. She encounters a rabbit and she asks the rabbit, "Oh, what should I get my mother for her birthday?" She says, "My mother likes the color red." And the rabbit proceeds to tell her a lot of different ideas about gifts that are the color red. He suggests apples. He suggests a red roof. The girl says, "No, my mother already has a red roof," for an example. So then they go on to the color yellow. And the little girl says, "Yeah, my mother likes the color yellow." So the rabbit goes on to suggest, "Oh, how about the sun? How about a yellow bird, a taxi cab? How about butter?" And the girl says, "No, no, no." And then they go on to the color green. And the rabbit suggests some green items. And then he says, "How about some pears?" Oh, look at this cute little picture. Frolicking in the meadow. What ends up happening is the girl and the rabbit decide to give her mother, for her mother's birthday, a basket of fruit that has all of the different colors that they've talked about. So the basket has bananas for yellow, and apples for red, and a green pear for the color green, and purple grapes. Here is the little girl going home to give her mother the basket, and the rabbit saying goodbye. But yeah, the illustrations, again, they're just breathtaking. So dreamy, so ethereal, otherworldly. Fantastic book, again. So cottagecore, so comforting, wholesome. Mr. Rabbit and the Lovely Present. Last book I have is The Runaway Bunny, another classic, originally written in 1942. Cute little sketches. Here's the bunny. This story is about a bunny and the bunny's mother, and the mother expressing love to the bunny. The bunny says, let me read to you the first page so you can kind of see where the story's going. "Once there was a little bunny who wanted to run away, so he said to his mother, 'I am running away.' 'If you run away,' said his mother, 'I will run after you, for you are my little bunny.' And then the bunny proceeds to say, 'Well, mother, what happens if I do this? What happens if I turn into a fish?' And then the mother says, 'If you become a fish in a trout stream, I'll become a fisherman and I will fish for you.' And it's about the mother expressing, no matter what you do, no matter where you go, I will be there trying to show you my love and be there to support you. And I can definitely relate. If you are a parent, maybe you can too. Or if you are an aunt or uncle, grandmother, I'm sure you can feel that just love that you have to protect a child. So this, the bunny talks about becoming a rock, and the mother says, I'll become a mountaineer, right? Cute little cottagecore picture, really alpine-esque. Bunny talks about becoming a crocus. Mommy will become a farmer. Bunny talks about becoming a bird. There's Mommy as a tree. Bunny talks about becoming a sailboat. Mommy's the wind blowing the sailboat to safety. And so forth. Circus scenario. It's just so quaint and very readable. Quick little book. But if you would like to express your love to a child in your life, pick up this one. Or just read it for yourself. I read it myself first, and I didn't have my children with me, but I just found it to be very enjoyable. So, right, I thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions about these books, please feel free to ask them in the comments. As always, I would appreciate like, share, subscribe. It would help the algorithm and make me feel more encouraged in making more videos. It's kind of hard not having that large of a following, but I thank you if you stuck around. You have a fantastic end of August and beginning of September. May blessings be upon you. Bye-bye.